the stereotypes and, of course, biases, gender biases, of course, and other biases are really hurtful to society, but are a function of the brain that helps the person reacts in a certain way fast.
I've researched a lot about you, and we talked earlier just before the show, so I'm already very impressed by you, and I cannot wait for our listeners and viewers to get to know you a bit more. So can you please give us just a short introduction about yourself?
Thank you, Dilma. I don't know where to start, but I have an interesting and maybe non-linear career, so to speak. I came in Japan about 18 years ago. I came to do research about Japanese cinema and digital cinema. And I ended up staying here for a very long time, much longer than I expected. I have a PhD from Nihon University in cinema studies. I've worked in many capacities, including as a director and a screenwriter. Also, I've worked in the AI field. That's an interesting, another interesting journey I've done. Also related how to make robots think more like human beings and being emotional, using my experience and knowledge as a film director and writer. But I was also the first ambassador of Republic of Macedonia in Japan from 2014 to 2018. And I came back after my ambassadorship. I also came back in Japan, and I live here with my family. And I'm currently working for the Economics Corporate Network. I'm the director for North Asia. And I'm also on the board of a couple of publicly listed companies and advisor to universities and I wear many hats.
You wear all the hats. Prior to your ambassadorship in 2014, as you just said, you studied at Nihon University and you got your PhD in the field of cinema studies and Japanology.
Mm-hmm.
Why did you decide to come to Japan?
Yeah, that's a very interesting story. You know, I was always attracted by Japanese cinema since I've watched Rashomon when I was only 5 years old.
Ooh.
Vividly remember my mother was ironing my father's t-shirts, and it was raining outside, and at the same time it was raining in the movie Rashomon when the movie starts, and I was so captured, and I sat down by the TV. My mother also remembers, she's like, that was like a hypnotism. You were like not moving from the in front of the TV for 2 hours or so. And later on, when I was already around 17 years old, I decided I'll be a filmmaker, and I'll start looking for the Rashomon movie, and I was very lucky and happy to find it in the film library at the film school in Macedonia. And then I decided to go study cinema in Bulgaria, and I did my cinema studies there and masters, and then I came in Japan to do the research on Japanese cinema. Actually, initially the research was not on Japanese cinema. I have to correct myself, because I did my master about digital cinema. I was lucky enough to win a scholarship from Japanese government.
Wow.
And come in Japan and do postgraduate studies that turned into my doctoral studies at Nihon University. And I have to say, Nihon University Film School is one of the best in Japan and probably one of the best in Asia.
You're the first Macedonian ambassador in Japan, and you're an entrepreneur with an MBA and a filmmaker. What is the inspiration behind your drive?
Oh, they usually say the curiosity killed the cat.
Yeah.
I don't know what exactly is my inspiration, but I see myself as a work in progress always. I don't see myself as a finished work, and I have amazing curiosity about the world. I have decided that I'm going to be a filmmaker when I was around 16 years old, and that has not changed. I want to be a storyteller and a filmmaker, and sometimes life presents you with opportunities, like the opportunity to be the first resident ambassador of your own country.
Yeah.
Or another opportunity, I was offered to be on a board of a publicly listed company in Japan, and I wanted to, when I'm taking that responsibility, to also be very well prepared, and I took the MBA. So I think I have more energy than other people, and maybe focus to see through projects, and things that I want to do in life. And at the same time, I do believe the more you're expanding your horizon, the more you're learning and studying, you can also become a better filmmaker and storyteller.
Oh, I love that, because there are so many filmmakers who have a very, like, they're quite short-sighted, well, because they're just focused on movies, but you're like opening your mind and experiencing so many different things, so you don't get stuck in stereotypes, I would imagine, but we'll come back to that in a moment. So what kind of films do you make or have you made? What is your style or your theme?
Made around 30 short movies so far, and most of my movies are conceptual movies. I like to take one topic that interests me at the moment and sort of like experiment with it, play with it. I had a movie that I made in 2009. It's called Time of the Wave, or in Japanese, Nami no Jikan. And I explored the topic of time within the human being. The movie starts with this analogy that we're all a walking sand watch. Every step you take, one drop of sand is going down. Another movie that and story that I wrote for international competition of Jidaigeki, or period film. That this was in 2010. The Shochiku and Toei studios in Kyoto, they organized international competition and invited many filmmakers to submit their scripts. And I submitted my script with nickname, and the script won the international competition. It was produced by Shochiku as a short film. The title is Purple and Gold. And actually the purple and gold is, I also like symbolism, what the purple symbolize. It's aristocracy. It's also aspiring towards higher spiritual, the purple chakra is the highest chakra. Aspiring towards higher things in life. And gold, it has double meaning, right? It's the color gold, and also means money as well, which is often corrupts our soul. So it's a contrast of these two.
At the moment, you're not working on a movie right now, but do you plan on creating something in the future?
I'm working on 2 scripts. Yes. Apart from these 2 scripts that I'm working on, I'm also wrote a novel with my husband.
Oh, lovely.
And it's interesting that when he was traveling a few years ago, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, he was traveling, and he sent me via email a dream that he had the other night. And instead of answering, "Oh, honey, what a dream," I continued the story. And then he wrote back to me with the next chapter, and we actually managed to write a book, and it's around 150 pages already.
Wow.
We're planning to publish, and that's also something that maybe I can produce as a film.
Yeah.
It's a really interesting story.
Talking about stereotypes, because you mentioned earlier your research was about stereotypes in Japanese film. How do you think those stereotypes affect society?
The stereotypes and of course biases, gender biases, of course, and other biases are really hurtful to society, but are a function of the brain that helps the person reacts in a certain way fast.
I see.
So sometimes it's useful if it's positive stereotype. We have positive and negative stereotype.
Yeah.
Usually we like to build a very positive stereotypes for our nation, right? So I'm Macedonian, and the Macedonian stereotype, if I have to explain to someone, it would be all positive, right?
Like your flag is like the sun,
yes,
right?
it's something we do as human beings. It's unavoidable. Just importance is how to recognize that we are doing it. Recognize that we are doing stereotypes, and when stereotypes are not serving us as a society, to try not have that kind of mental frame.
Yeah.
And in cinema, as I mentioned, I did the research about stereotypes in Japan vis-a-vis East Asia and Southeast Asia, because I recognize how important stereotypes are in diplomacy and international relations.
Mm.
At the time when I was doing that research, the Korean drama was very popular in Japan.
Yeah.
And then I started looking for other examples like that. Which Japanese movies were popular in Korea and China and Taiwan, and why? And how these nations form their view or image about Japan and Japanese people. And then I realized it's very important what kind of cultural products you're promoting to the world. And I hope that also Japan will recognize the importance of culture, cinema in international relations and diplomacy, and we will make substantial efforts how to highlight and picture more 4D image of Japan and Japanese society.
Okay, so now it's time for the quickfire round. So you just have to answer super quick. I have 3 questions for you. Are you ready?
I'm not, but let's start.
Let's go then. Okay, who is your favorite Hollywood actor or actress?
Julia Roberts and Marilyn Monroe.
What is your favorite Japanese movie?
Ugetsu Monogatari. I have many. It's actually not even easy for me to choose. I cannot choose. There's so many movies that I like. But I always say Ugetsu Monogatari because, when I was ambassador, nominated and appointed to be ambassador, I received the letter of credence from Macedonian president. And there is a ceremony in which I present the letter of credence to the Emperor of Japan. And they asked me, are you going to speak in English and Japanese? And somehow I decided to speak in Japanese. That was really nerve-wracking. And especially because there is a free time conversation with the emperor in which the emperor asks you a question and you don't know what it is. And His Majesty, being a super informed person, he jumped right on the cinema. Yes, what's your favorite Japanese film? I know you had a PhD in cinema. And luckily, I have a prepared answer for that. And I said, Ugetsu Monogatari from Musaguchi Kenji. And this is in a very big hall in the Imperial Palace, Matsunoma. And you just hear, and the echo goes in the room. But I do love that movie because it's very mystical. It's, first of all, beautiful visuals in that movie. And the story is so mystical, and I really like that kind of, it's not a horror, it's not a thriller, it's more of a human drama, ghost story. And I think I would like to make a movie like that, something that floats in the air and leaves a great impact in people's hearts and minds for a long time.
And last one, what is your favorite movie genre?
I think I like dramas a lot, human dramas, but I'm also a big fan of comedies.
Ah, yes.
So if you ask me, probably I would watch comedy every day. But the problem is that they're not good comedies. It's very, in the film industry and film studies, everyone knows the most difficult genre is comedy.
All right. Andrijana, that's it for our interview today. I wish it could have been longer because I have lots of questions.
Thank you, Thelma. I think you asked me a lot of questions. I really enjoyed talking to you.
Oh, thank you so much. I enjoyed listening to you. And I hope we can invite you again. Hopefully when you've made a movie or something.
Definitely. I'll try to hurry up.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.